What happens when a senator's 23-year-old daughter slips out of a New Year's Eve party at 2:30 in the morning, drunk, confident, and convinced the world bends for her, only to plow into a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran's car? And when officers arrive, she shrugs it off with, "It's New Year's. Everyone drinks. My dad will handle this." She's about to learn a brutal truth. The calendar doesn't excuse drunk driving. Famous last names don't create force fields, and some senators, when forced to choose, will honor the veterans who served their country rather than protect the daughters who endangered them. But what makes this case truly heartbreaking isn't just the reckless drinking on New Year's Eve. It's who she hit. It's what she said as he lay injured. And it's what her father, the senator himself, told Judge Caprio when the judge dialed his number on speakerphone in front of the entire courtroom, just days into the new year. Tell us where you're watching from, because what comes next proves one thing. Political power can't buy immunity, not even when champagne is still fresh on your breath. It's January 3rd in Providence Municipal Court. 23-year-old Madison Hartley, daughter of United States Senator Richard Hartley, stands charged with DUI resulting in serious bodily injury, reckless driving, leaving the scene, and threatening responding officers. 3 nights earlier, at 2:47 a.m. on New Year's Eve, Madison walked out of an elite Providence hotel party after drinking champagne from 10 p.m. straight through to 2:30 a.m. Witnesses watched her stumble toward her BMW, laughing, dropping her keys, openly admitting she was too drunk to stand. Traffic cameras later capture her BMW swerving across lanes at 50 miles per hour in a 30 zone. At the intersection of Hope Street and Rochambeau Avenue, she blew through a red light and slammed into a Toyota Camry. The impact spun the Camry into a pole. Behind the wheel was 68-year-old Robert Sullivan, a Vietnam veteran heading home after volunteering at a veteran shelter, a tradition he's upheld every New Year's Eve for 15 years, since losing his wife. Robert suffered 3 broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, severe whiplash, and a concussion. He remained trapped inside his crushed vehicle for 8 excruciating minutes. Police arrived at 2:51 a.m. Officer Michael Chin found Madison standing beside her BMW, champagne bottle still in hand, glittering evening gown torn, her speech slurred and her balance barely holding. When he asked whether she was hurt, her response, caught on body cam, was chilling in its carelessness. "I'm fine. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks on New Year's. This isn't a big deal. Is my car okay?" Officer Chin reported overwhelming alcohol odor, severely slurred speech, and an unsteady gait. "Madison," he told her, "you were in a serious accident. Someone else was injured." But Madison just laughed, lifted the champagne bottle, and took another casual sip. "It's New Year's. Live a little, officer. My dad always says New Year's Eve doesn't count. Everyone gets a pass." Behind her, paramedics were working frantically to free Robert Sullivan from the twisted metal of his car. His cries of pain carried through the cold night air. Madison didn't look once, didn't ask a single question. When Officer Chin attempted a field sobriety test, she snapped, "Do you know who my father is? He's Senator Richard Hartley. He's on the Senate Judiciary Committee. He literally oversees your funding. Let me go before you make a huge mistake." When Chin reached for the champagne bottle, Madison's attitude hardened into aggression. "Don't touch me. My father will have your badge. I'm calling him right now." Sergeant Jennifer Walsh arrived and took control. "Madison, you're being detained for DUI. We need to conduct testing." Madison crossed her arms defiantly. "I'm not doing any tests. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. My father is going to hear about this harassment." When Walsh attempted to guide her toward the patrol car, Madison resisted, physically. "Get your hands off me. I'm Senator Hartley's daughter. You can't arrest me. It's New Year's Eve." 3 officers ultimately had to restrain her. She hurled threats the entire time, insisting that New Year's made her untouchable and demanding to be driven to her next party. She still never asked about Robert. In the patrol vehicle, the tirade kept rolling. "You have no idea what you've done. My father funds your department. You'll all be directing traffic next week." At the station, Madison initially refused a breathalyzer. Only after her attorney was reached did she finally submit, At 4:17 a.m., her BAC registered. 18. Given the time lapse, investigators estimated she was around 21 at the moment of impact, nearly 3 times the legal limit. Toxicology later revealed cocaine in her system as well. Now Madison enters Judge Caprio's courtroom wearing designer clothing, and a look that suggests this whole situation is nothing more than a mild inconvenience. Her attorney, Christopher Dane, represents a well-connected political firm. Judge Caprio watches her walk in. She doesn't move like someone who nearly killed a veteran. The bailiff calls the case. Caprio scans the file. Before he can even speak, Dane jumps up. Your Honor, this happened on New Year's Eve, an evening when many people make regrettable choices. My client has no prior record and comes from a distinguished family. Given the holiday circumstances, we ask the court to consider the New Year's context. Judge Caprio's reply is ice steady. Mr. Dane, I don't care if this was New Year's Eve, Christmas, or any other day. Your client drove drunk, crashed into a Vietnam veteran's car, seriously injured him, and showed zero remorse. The calendar doesn't grant immunity. If you're not subscribed, hit that button, because what happens next shows exactly what occurs when someone believes New Year's celebrations excuse endangering the people who serve this country. Judge Caprio turns to Madison. Ms. Hartley, do you understand these charges? Her voice is flat, dismissive. Yes, Your Honor. Madison begins, her voice casual, almost dismissive. But everyone is overreacting. It was New Year's Eve. People drink on New Year's. I made a mistake, but I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Judge Caprio sets down his pen, his gaze steady. Miss Hartley, you drove drunk, 3 times the legal limit, with cocaine in your system. You ran a red light at 50 miles per hour. You seriously injured a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran, driving home after volunteering at a shelter for veterans. And your first thought? Your car and your next party. Madison shifts in her seat. I was in shock. It was New Year's Eve. Everyone was celebrating. Caprio leans forward. Being in shock doesn't explain laughing, and drinking champagne while the man you injured was trapped. Being in shock doesn't explain threatening officers. And New Year's Eve doesn't excuse any of it. He pauses, then asks, have you contacted Robert Sullivan to apologize? Dane responds, not on legal advice, Your Honor. 3 days have passed, Caprio says. And in that time, your client hasn't shown the most basic human decency, asking if the veteran she nearly killed is okay, because her lawyer advised against it. He cues the body camera footage. Madison slurred. Careless voice fills the courtroom. I'm fine. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. Is my car okay? A wave of disgust ripples through the gallery. In the front row, Robert Sullivan sits with visible bruising, his arm in a sling. The footage continues. Madison laughing, sipping champagne, cooing, little officer, while paramedics work frantically to free him. Then the threat. Do you know who my father is? He's Senator Richard Hartley. He oversees your funding. Let me go. Officer Chin testifies, his tone grim. Did she ask about Mr. Sullivan? Not once, Your Honor. Only about her car, her next party, and threatening us with her father's influence. Then Robert Sullivan takes a stand. His voice is quiet but firm. I volunteered at the Veterans Shelter for 15 years, serving dinner to homeless veterans on New Year's Eve. Then impact. I don't remember much after that. Just pain and being trapped. I heard a woman laughing. I thought I was imagining it, but she was actually laughing while I was stuck, unable to move. Robert's voice cracks as he speaks. Your Honor, I'm 68. I served in Vietnam. I was driving home from helping others when this young woman, drunk and high, destroyed my car. 3 broken ribs. I can barely breathe. My car is gone and I can't afford another. And she never asked if I was okay. Judge Caprio turns to Madison. Do you have anything to say to Mr. Sullivan? Her attorney quickly whispers advice. Don't speak. Madison stays silent. Then, as if the courtroom itself doesn't exist, she pulls out her phone and begins typing. Caprio's voice cuts through like a whip. Miss Hartley, what are you doing? I'm texting my father. He needs to know what's happening. She replies, flippant. This has gone on long enough. You're texting your father during court proceedings. Hand me that phone. The bailiff retrieves it, and Caprio reads aloud, each word landing like a hammer. Dad, this judge is insane. He's acting like I committed murder. It was just a New Year's accident. Everyone drinks on New Year's. Can you call someone? This needs to stop now. The courtroom falls silent. Shock. Disbelief. Miss Hartley, Caprio says, his tone icy. You just attempted to text a United States Senator to interfere with judicial proceedings. You called this just a New Year's accident, as if the calendar excuses nearly killing a veteran. You want your father involved? Fine. Let's get him involved. Clerk, contact Senator Hartley immediately. We're doing this on the record. Madison's face drains of color. Your Honor, that's not necessary, her attorney interjects. You are asking a senator to interfere with justice. Let's hear what he has to say. Within minutes, the clerk connects Senator Richard Hartley. Judge Caprio puts the call on speakerphone. Every ear in the courtroom catches a conversation. Senator Hartley, this is Judge Frank Caprio, Providence Municipal Court. Your daughter, Madison, is here for a hearing regarding DUI charges from New Year's Eve. She just attempted to text you during court, asking you to intervene because, and I quote, it was just a New Year's accident and everyone drinks on New Year's. A long pause. Then, when Senator Hartley speaks, his voice carries weight, emotion, and unmistakable disappointment. Your Honor, I apologize that my daughter contacted me during court. She should not have done that. Caprio doesn't flinch. Senator, I want to make sure you understand the full situation. Your daughter drove drunk, 3 times the legal limit, with cocaine in her system. She ran a red light at 50 miles per hour. She crashed into a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran's car, seriously injuring him. When police arrived, Judge Caprio continues, she was drinking champagne and laughing. She threatened officers with your Senate position multiple times. She showed no concern for the veteran she injured, and her defense is that it was New Year's Eve, so the rules don't apply. A heavy silence fills the courtroom. 15 seconds that feel like an eternity. When Senator Hartley speaks again, his voice is transformed, calm but resolute. Your Honor, I need to be very clear. I am not calling to request leniency. I am not asking for special treatment. I am not intervening in any way. Madison blurts out, desperate. Dad, tell him this is crazy. It was New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. Senator Hartley's reply is cutting, final. Madison, be quiet. For once in your privileged life, be quiet and listen to someone other than yourself. The courtroom is frozen in silence. Every eye on him. I've spent 12 years in the United States Senate. Hartley continues, his voice firm, reverent. I've fought for veterans' benefits, for VA funding, for proper care for those who served our country. I sit on committees that determine support for the men and women who sacrificed for our freedom. And my daughter drove drunk and nearly killed a Vietnam veteran, then threatened police officers using my name and position. Judge Caprio asked the question hanging in the air. Senator, are you asking this court to show leniency because of your position? The answer shocks everyone. Absolutely not, Your Honor. I'm asking you to treat her exactly as you would any other defendant who did what she did. Actually, I'm asking you to consider treating her more harshly, because she should know better. She grew up in a household that honored veterans. She has heard me talk about military sacrifice her entire life, and she nearly killed a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran and laughed about it, because it was New Year's Eve. Madison starts crying, panicked. Dad, you're supposed to help me. I'm your daughter. Senator Hartley's voice is firm, unwavering. You are my daughter, Madison, and that's exactly why I'm doing this. Your mother and I have enabled your entitled behavior for 23 years. We've bailed you out, made phone calls, hired lawyers, and we've created someone who thinks her last name makes her above consequences. That ends today. Judge Caprio then asks if the senator would like to address Robert Sullivan, who is seated in the courtroom. Yes, Your Honor. Hartley turns to Robert. Mr. Sullivan, I am Richard Hartley, father of the young woman who nearly killed you on New Year's Eve. I want to tell you something I should have taught her better. Your service matters. Your sacrifice matters. What you've done for 15 years, volunteering, serving homeless veterans every New Year's Eve, that matters more than any Senate seat I'll ever hold. Senator Hartley says, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. My daughter destroyed your car and injured you while you were driving home from serving others. That is unconscionable. I am ashamed, and I promise you she will face full accountability. Robert Sullivan, visibly moved, responds, Senator, I appreciate your words. Your Honor, may I say something? Of course, Mr. Sullivan, Caprio replies. Senator Hartley, you don't need to apologize for your daughter's choices. She's an adult. But I appreciate that you understand what veterans endure and what we sacrifice. I hope your daughter truly learns from this. Senator Hartley's voice thickens with emotion. Mr. Sullivan, thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued work with homeless veterans. And I am deeply sorry my daughter treated you as if you didn't matter. Judge Caprio leans forward. Senator, is there anything else you'd like to add? Yes, Your Honor. Whatever sentence you determine is appropriate, I fully support it. If jail time is warranted, so be it. If significant fines or community service are necessary, I agree. My daughter needs to understand that being a senator's daughter does not grant immunity from consequences, especially when she endangers someone who served our country. And one more thing, Your Honor, I will be sending a formal apology to the Providence Police Department for my daughter's threats against their officers. Those officers were simply doing their jobs, and using my name to intimidate them is despicable. The call ends. Madison sits at the defendant's table, crying, utterly exposed. The rescue she expected has been replaced with public condemnation from her own father. Judge Caprio's voice is firm and commanding. Ms. Hartley, your father, the United States Senator whose position you repeatedly used to threaten officers, just told this court to treat you like any other defendant. In fact, he suggested harsher treatment, because you should know better. That's exactly what we're going to do. The sentence is severe and unflinching. Driving under the influence, causing serious bodily injury with cocaine in her system, $15,000 fine, 2-year license, suspension mandatory intensive substance, abuse treatment 60 days in county jail, for reckless driving at 50 in a 30-zone $5,000 fine, for running a red light $1,000 fine, for leaving the scene $3,000 fine, for resisting arrest $1,000 fine for threatening. Law enforcement using her father's position $5,000 fine, for contempt of court for attempting to text her father during proceedings, total monetary penalties, $33,000, and Judge Caprio isn't finished yet. Judge Caprio isn't finished. He orders Madison to make full restitution to Robert Sullivan for his destroyed vehicle. The Camry's value? $8,500. He adds medical expenses not covered by insurance, currently $4,200. But the consequences don't stop at money. He orders 400 hours of community service, specifically at veterans shelters and VA hospitals, serving the very people she endangered. She must also write formal letters of apology to Robert Sullivan, Officer Chun, Sergeant Walsh, every officer she threatened, and to her father for misusing his Senate position. And in a powerful push for accountability, Judge Caprio commands Madison to attend and speak at 3 high schools or colleges, recounting her actions on New Year's Eve and exactly what they cost her. The total financial impact? $45,700. The jail sentence? 60 days, starting immediately. The consequences: 400 hours of service to veterans, 2 years without a license, a permanent criminal record. Madison's attorney erupts. Your Honor, 60 days in jail for a first offense is excessive. My client is a college graduate with career prospects. Caprio's response lands like a hammer. Mr. Dane, your client drove drunk and high, 3 times the legal limit. She nearly killed a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran who was driving home after volunteering to serve homeless veterans on New Year's Eve. She laughed about it. She threatened officers 15 times using her father's Senate position. She called it just a New Year's accident. She tried to text her father to make it all go away. During court proceedings, 60 days is not excessive. It is merciful. This sentence stands. As Madison is led away in custody, she stops, tears in her eyes, and looks at Robert. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sullivan. He meets her gaze, voice calm but firm. Young lady, I hope you learned something. I hope you learned that veterans aren't props for your father's political career. We are human beings who served and sacrificed. We deserve respect, not be hit by drunk senators' daughters who think New Year's Eve makes them invincible. Officer Chin rises. Your Honor, I've been an officer for 8 years. I've never had anyone threaten me with their parents' Senate position while a veteran was trapped in a crushed vehicle. What you did today matters to every officer. Thank you. Within hours, the courtroom audio goes viral. The story spreads like wildfire. Senator Hartley holds a press conference. He doubles down on veteran services legislation, apologizes publicly to the Providence Police Department, establishes a scholarship in Robert Sullivan's name, and personally replaces Robert's destroyed vehicle. Meanwhile, Madison begins her 60-day jail sentence. Week 1, angry, resentful, defiant. Week 4, fully engaged in substance abuse counseling. By 6 weeks, she's writing sincere letters of apology. Upon release, she dives into 400 hours of service at the VA hospital, meeting veterans with missing limbs, PTSD, and traumatic brain injuries. 3 months later, she speaks at a college. A student asks a question that cuts to the core. Do you regret driving drunk on New Year's? Her answer is raw and unflinching. I regret everything. I regret laughing while Mr. Sullivan was trapped. I regret treating him like he didn't matter. New Year's Eve doesn't excuse any of it. At 6 months, she meets Robert again at the veteran shelter. Mr. Sullivan, I drove drunk and high on New Year's Eve. I crashed into your car. I seriously injured you. I laughed while you were trapped. I threatened officers. I called it just a New Year's accident. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Robert looks at her, calm but resolute. Madison, I didn't serve so senators' daughters could nearly kill veterans while threatening cops. I served so everyone would be equal under the law. Your father understood. Judge Caprio understood. Now you need to understand it too. 1 year later, Madison has been sober for 12 months. She continues volunteering at the VA well beyond her required hours, and now works professionally as a veteran services advocate. Senator Hartley continues his Senate work, with renewed focus on supporting veterans. When asked if he regrets holding his daughter accountable, he answers without hesitation. I don't regret holding my daughter accountable. I regret it took nearly killing a veteran for her to learn her last name doesn't make her special. The veterans are special. They sacrificed. For viewers, don't forget to subscribe for more courtroom moments where political power meets accountability. Hit that like button if you believe New Year's Eve does excuse endangering veterans. Madison Hartley walked into court thinking New Year's Eve excused everything. She thought her father's Senate seat made her untouchable. She texted him, expecting rescue. Instead, she heard him tell Judge Caprio to treat her harshly. She heard him apologize to the veteran she nearly killed. She heard him choose honor over protecting his entitled daughter. That text, the one she thought would save her, became the moment that taught her the most important lesson of her life. That's justice. That's integrity. That's a legacy of Judge Frank Caprio and Senator Richard Hartley.